Hello YouTube, Aaron here, or Claude Mods, which is my online name, with another video. In today's video I just want to talk about some of the things that I'm doing moving forward and what's gone on in the last couple of weeks since I've been a bit silent. So I have updated my website, and I think I'll keep my beanie on in this video. So I updated my website to do with some new ISOs because the creation method for the Squash FS has been updated. I had a few issues in the old version, so I've had to put some new ISOs out relatively fast to get some fixes, and that was because the user lib location was not cloning correctly, and well, I've managed to fix this now in my new RTX releases called Man of War, and also my Spitfire that was just released. I'll get on more to that in a minute. So basically, my Man of War was built off of Mustang AKG. It would have been version 1.0.8b, is it? We can actually have a look. I'm pretty sure it was 1.08b, and that was meant to be like the next stable for Mustang. So on the RTX side, SourceForge, I had a few issues, you see, obviously with my ISOs being not cloned correctly, so I built it from Mustang version 1.0.2. I have an old ISO luckily online, but if we go to SourceForge, and type my name in, we can find out which version Mustang is currently at, because the next release was actually on my USB, but I deleted it by mistake. I'm running on a PC that is temperamental at the moment. I've already blown the graphics on it, but it still works for the purpose I need. I'm not currently gaming. So Mustang would have been version 1.0.8b, and I did have a minimal, but for some reason that got deleted as well somewhere down the line of making updates. So anyway, I want to talk about what I'm going to be doing for Arch now, because I'm going to be putting out RTX to rest. I've had so much problem with RTX and repos and fixing this, that and the other. It's nothing to do with the sound, it's down to the fact that it's been a bit troublesome. It is a Frankenstein system in a sense, and well, I had to do a lot of things just to get Mustang built as the way it is, and I'm having problems editing every time I make a new ISO with Mustang. Now I get problems where plasma settings won't pop up. I can't open the Dolphin as root sometimes. It doesn't like to work in a virtual machine. It's just, it's annoying. So I've been looking at going to university on Linux. I've been looking for the University of Linux distros, and well, Arco Linux has seemed to be the one. But I just released a Spitfire Arco Linux built off of Arco Linux Plasma. I don't know if this would have been the Arco Linux Plasma, Arco Linux D, or I used to use Arco Linux D, but this ISO is Arco Linux Plasma. So I originally built this off of the latest ISO, which would have been in October, I think it was, but I had some problems. Then I tried to do Grub, because I had problems with system D boot. I wanted to change to how I normally had it, which would have been with Grub, and it didn't want to install with Grub, so I've gone for the June edition, and I've had to update from the June edition. And what I'm doing right now is I'm cloning Spitfire. If we could just get this here again, I don't know what's going on. As long as we get a full screen of what I'm actually doing, and this is open. I'm actually cloning Spitfire now, made off the June edition. I've fixed the Plymouth artwork, the Grub artwork now works. I don't know about the sound. I keep having problems with the sound loading on Plasma. Although the sound does turn on, the sound now doesn't play. I don't know what's going on. This is something I will look at. Also, I'm doing like a final ISO for Spitfire. All these ISOs and their names are becoming very troublesome, and the thing is with this ISO here, this is a solid base right now. We have the Plymouth is now working for Spitfire, or it should be. From my test it's working. We've got the Grub now is now in Spitfire, so you've got that Grub artwork now works. We got all the packages we can be happy with. You know, this is Spitfire, solid Spitfire, the way it should have been, very stable. We're on Arch repos. We got all the latest packages. It's not too big of an ISO to be downloading. Hopefully it's going to be around about 4.4 GB. We got all the latest packages. We got no problems. This is where Spitfire needed to be. Now I'm going to be making one more ISO of Spitfire, and this is going to contain a script to allow you to update to the full edition. Now if you want to install the full edition applications, you can install the applications. I will make one full edition ISO, and there is going to be no time schedule for updates on there. I'm going to be, if there is any updates, it's going to be relatively slowly, because I want to focus on 4 ISOs now. The 4 ISOs are going to be Man of War for every distribution you can think of. So we're going to have Man of War RTX is going to get one update before it gets, 3 ISOs should I say. Man of War is going to get one more update just to fix it and go over a few things that need to be fixed if there is any. I don't think there is much to fix, but Man of War of course is being built and it seems to be working fine on my end, on my machines, but Man of War on RTX is going to be put to rest. I'm not going to be updating on RTX. It was a Frankenstein experimental system, and I wouldn't necessarily recommend it for new users anyway. So, okay, the 3 ISOs that are going to be now updated from now on are going to be Man of War Debian, Man of War Ubuntu, and that will be Ubuntu 24.04. Okay, this will be 4 ISOs. This is why I say 4 ISOs. So Ubuntu 24.04 and Ubuntu 24.10. Now I don't know how long of an update cycle I'll do for 24.04, but we'll have Man of War on both of them at the start, and also we're going to do Man of War Arch. But I'm going to be providing for Spitfire one more ISO, then there's going to be a script to install the full edition applications, which are basically app images, and then I will make one final, it's going to be, I will make a full edition, but there is going to be no update cycle for this. So it might be next year I'll make a new ISO for the full edition. It's not going to be it's not going to be regularly updated just like my other distributions or like it has in the past. So I'm going to be building Torpedo as well. I'm going to make Torpedo pretty much one more time. 2 more times. So I'm going to release an ISO and it's going to be built off of Spitfire. I'm going to have the Torpedo artwork and a Torpedo Plymouth and a Torpedo Grub. Everything Torpedo the way it would normally be. And then I'm going to make a new ISO after that. So I'm going to do Spitfire, which is going to be this one here. I'm going to do Torpedo, and then going to do Man of War. And what we're going to do with Man of War, we're going to make a full edition, and the script you use to download on the minimal edition of Man of War is going to be the same script that's used in Spitfire and Torpedo, and then that's going to be put into the next ISO that comes, because I'm going to do Spitfire, Torpedo, then Man of War. When Man of War is being created, I will create the script for the other 2 that will be exactly the same. It'll be the full update script, and then I'm going to create one more ISO with that script in it for Spitfire and Torpedo before it is scrapped fully. And this is going to be like the final ISO for Spitfire, because Spitfire is very solid in the sense now that it's built off of Arco Linux. I don't see any problems going forward. We won't get no SquashFS errors, Calamares errors. You just simply install and update if need be. You know, you're on Spitfire. You'll be on Torpedo, and of course, if you want to upgrade to the full edition, there will be a script that allow you to upgrade and download the full edition packages. And then you can of course add them to your favorites if need be. And I will be providing one full edition ISO, and the plan is to basically not maintain this as much as I used to, because there's too many ISOs being made. I'm doing this ISO, that ISO, this ISO, and my tool, it takes around 2 hours each time. I could do it in the long run. I just think it's better going forward. Man of War Arch, Man of War Debian, Man of War Ubuntu, and then I may provide Arctic's ISOs here and there, but I'm going to be putting these projects pretty much to rest, although I won't end support entirely. I just obviously don't want to be updating them as much now. I want to be taking a break. I've got to update my application. I've now got to do the boot artwork for Torpedo and also for Man of War, just to get everything basically ready for the final ISOs. So that's what I'm going to be doing next. Once this ISO is out, this is going to be posted soon, within the next 2 hours. Like I said, this takes about 2 hours to get an ISO out and on the internet. When this is finished, what we do, we publish it online. I then make Torpedo to a standard where Torpedo will be ready. Try and get the Plymouth boot work sorted for Torpedo, and also try and get the everything else sorted, so we have a base for Torpedo ready for putting this new script that allow you to get the full edition. And then I'm going to be building Man of War off of that Torpedo ISO that gets released after it gets created and obviously tested. And then Man of War will of course have this script, which is what I'm going to be putting in the other two. But yeah, so I want to get a Debian ISO, which I've got a separate machine here for. I've actually got half built Debian ISO on this machine, which is where the camera is here, and then we're using a projector there. My light is on so you can see my ugly face. And yeah, basically my workflow is going to be more focused on getting ISOs out that actually work. Now we're getting to the point where Spitfire is where it should have been. I had very solid based ISOs ready at some point to upload for Spitfire, and I had a problem with it. And of course the minimal edition has obviously been a distribution that I've always said that I would support. So I want to put that to rest now. I want to support it for one more ISO, and then we would do not so much rolling with not much to update, maybe the system app here and there and things like that. I want to focus on the Man of War now. Man of War will get all the new updates. If you want to keep up to date with new things that are coming, then download the Man of War, because it will be more regularly updated. And of course I do a lot of testing, so when it comes to Spitfire and when I do release an ISO, because obviously it won't be as regular, I will of course be doing testing and making sure everything is alright. And Spitfire was like a limited edition version of my distribution on Arch, and it's got a custom Plymouth, and I love Spitfire for what it was worth. It was my first ever distribution. I built it in the way that it is that you see it. I added some extra things to make it better. So we got a new icon here. We got a new color. I've added a fix to dolphin so that you can see the icons and everything now without issue. Whereas before it'd have like a dark blue or white, and you couldn't select an item. You didn't know what that item was called. So that's been fixed now. I'm going to be doing that in all of my distributions also. Because Mosquito is another distribution that I will be putting to rest at some point. So I'm going to be recreating Mosquito on 2404 and also 2410. Before then doing the same thing I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be making a Man of War ISO with a script for the full edition, and I will then create two more last ISOs that will contain the full edition full script. And then what I'll do is I'll create a full edition for both of them ISOs, and then that project will be put to rest. And then Man of War of course will be the only updates that will come out, and really and truly the full edition will not be as updated as the minimal edition. And the problem is when you do put many updates and you keep updating, and I need like a minimal ISO. I need an ISO that I can say, right, this is like ISO number 1, this is the specimen that I will create everything on each time, because every time I update and I put a new ISO out, after about 6 months, if I keep updating for 6 months on this one ISO, the packages get bigger and bigger and bigger. I think maybe this was the problem I was having with my other Arch ISOs. like old Spitfire and everything else was all built on packages and things, and it was too bloated. And this is the problem when you put the file on a Ventoy USB, it doesn't want to boot if it's over about 5 GB. So now we're looking at about 4.4 GB. Then Ventoy likes to read this image, it's not too big to read. Of course, my ISO creation methods could change at any point. This is beta, I'm always updating. But the main focus of getting these ISOs out and then putting it kind of to rest or on hold in a sense is to speed up the workflow of, you know, the ISO creator, my system tool. There's a lot of things that, you know, I've created that could be updated and made better for these systems. So I don't want to just focus on getting ISOs out, I want to focus on bug fixes. Really and truly, this is why I've rebased now on Arco Linux. There is no bugs. Maybe the sound doesn't want to play. I haven't heard the sound play. Even though I've set the sounds up, it doesn't want to play. I don't know. People, you know, this is a big problem, you know, because I wanted to rebase onto Arco Linux just to be very solid. You know, when you read up about Arco Linux, we're talking about going to university on Linux, and well, there's a lot of things on Arco Linux I like, and I thought, you know, this is the best way going forward, and it has been for myself. It's very solid. I can't wait to get Man of War updated onto this. It will take off, of course, a few more ISOs, maybe 2 days, 3 days, I don't know. There's no rush. I'm going to be doing Torpedo after this, and then we'll see where we get with Man of War. There's no bugs, of course, there's no bugs. The Linux kernel is fully updated, and there's no packages on hold with Arch. Everything is fully updated. My application works perfectly fine like it did before. The Plymouth and the Grub artwork was mainly my main focus. I really want to get my sounds working, but I guess I could try and figure something out for this at a later date. Rock solid and forked, really and truly. This is going to be the base. What you're seeing now on the screen is built off of Arco Linux. This is now going to be the base for my Arch ISO, and I think this is just a bit more premium in a sense that it's been set up pretty much by someone who knows what he's doing. He's saying Arco Linux is like going to university. Well, you know, different people got different skills, and we all know what Claude Mods has got, you know, or me, myself, Aaron, the skills that I've gathered over the last 2 years from building Spitfire, which is what originally was my first ever ISO. This would have been it, with in its shiny gold armor, you know. This is what it should have been, and we're looking 2 years later pretty much. This month was when I first ever released Spitfire 2 years ago. 2 years later, we're looking at a solid base. Pretty much no problems whatsoever. It boots like that. You can run it all day long, no problem. The only reason I'm getting GPU problems is the fact that I burnt my GPUs because I'm doing a lot of hard work on my machine that really is just an office PC, and it's not much power to be playing with. So yeah, I just wanted to focus on the fact of being stable. You know, I want something stable. I had to do what I've done now to make things stable. Of course, if you want to use an ISO, you want to make sure it works. You want to make sure the operating system is the way that it should be. You know, I wanted to make sure that this is fit for the future. So if I release 2 more ISOs, this is going to be the solid base for the next ISO, which is basically just going to be a script. And the script is going to allow you to get the full edition. So this here is basically the base, you know, the OME, and then we update one more time, and we can say, you know, this is the stable Spitfire. When you want to download Spitfire or use Spitfire, use this ISO and just update. That's basically where I want to be. I've had enough of sitting there. Here's one ISO, here's another ISO, here's a problem, here's a problem, here's a problem, here's a problem. And really truly, I only ever wanted to get my ISOs into a stable state and say, right, this is the stable, there's not much I can do now. You know, I hope you enjoy what you've got. We have to now move on to Man of War. We have to focus on the system app. We have to focus on this. If you want to download the system app, you download the system app. If you if you want something extra, then you have to download it separately. You know, for these new features, I can't keep updating 6 ISOs every day. You know, it seems like I was at one point. I'm definitely uploading at least 6 ISOs every 2-3 days has been something that I've done in the past, and well, I'm getting old and I haven't got the energy for this, so I need to organise my workflow and just think what's the best thing going forward for myself. Of course, I've got my ISO creation tool, I've got my terminal, I've got my system app, I've got my ISOs, my distributions. I've then got my app images and other Linux applications that I have to, of course, organise into a steady workflow and say, right, what is the best way going forward? This is what I wanted to talk about today. I'm not putting my Linux projects to dust, in a way. You know, I've done these over many years, 2 years now. I've studied and studied and studied, and really I've done everything from home for fun, and I enjoy doing this. I've really got a lot of knowledge from learning, and well, of course, some things have to come to an end. You know, nothing lasts forever. I can't be. Probably at one point we'll be putting this to rest. You know, I will get to that age where I haven't got the energy to do this anymore, or the hours, or I've got something I've got to focus on in life. But for the meantime, I just want to make sure that everyone is fully aware of what I am going to be doing moving forward. I just want to make sure that my ISOs are stable and ready, and if there's anything getting changed that, you know, in my applications or something, then you have a stable branch, maybe a upstream branch. But we want to be making sure that everything is stable and ready to be used. No more uploading ISOs that have got problems because of this or because of that, you know. I really wanted to make sure all ISOs were stable. I had more than 20 different ISOs on some of my distributions in the past. And some of them had tatty artwork and this and that I removed somewhere down the line from the first release to the second, might be different, you know. Now I just want to make sure that it works. It is what I want it to be, with the custom boot artwork, the Plymouth artwork, try and get the sounds maybe to work if I can. We've got the taskbar, we've got the desktop, we've got a working system app. Everything works, it's stable, you know. This is what I want. Obviously some of my work is Frankenstein, so Mustang and this distribution here is basically Frankenstein. So all of the packages are on the Arch repos. I'm not using the Arco Linux repos, I'm using Arch based repos, and that's simply because I'm an Arch fan, you know, and I'd much rather have all of these than to use the Arco Linux or, you know, anyone else's repos. I'd rather use Arch, and of course Arch has been a bit of a problem. But this is Arch, it's a rolling release. It doesn't matter what repo you use or whose repo you use, you're going to have a problem somewhere down the line. It's just like if you download the Cashy Linux OS kernel, it doesn't work, you know, it's got a problem. And the Linux Zen kernel working perfectly fine on this machine. I've done my tests. Of course I'm using the same packages now in Man of War, which is what I'm using, but of course Man of War, this is Man of War Arch, as I say. I'm going to be changing this, of course, and build it on this on the new Torpedo ISO, which is being created from this Spitfire ISO. So when this ISO is made, I'm going to be making Torpedo off of this, and then Torpedo will be the base for Man of War. So yeah, I don't know how to explain this anymore. I've obviously explained this 3-4 times now. I just wanted to make it clear, you know, I'm not professional, I'm not a genius, I'm working on it. I want to make things better for people, I want people to understand, you know, I'm not a joke. I can have some sort of professionalism, and I think the best way is always to tell your users what you're doing, what is good, a good way of moving forward, and plan to move ahead with things instead to be stuck with problems and bugs, you know, because this is very much what's going on. The Arch install scripts, if you used to install Arch now from Arch install scripts with the Arch ISO, is broken. So this is why I've built off of Arco Linux and not Arch install completely from fresh. And to be fair, to be honest, Arco Linux has got smaller packages. I don't know what happened, but the ISO becomes smaller a little bit anyway. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Sorry to babble on a little bit. Got a lot of projects to be doing in the past. In the background, you see, the best work is done when you're not talking about it. So I'm doing tasks behind the scene. I'm updating my website to make sure everything's updated. There's a Google Drive now I've added. I do need to add this to my website. I'm doing things slowly but surely, but the key things that need to be done I'm doing, relatively fast, which is trying to get these Arch ISOs out for you people. So you have a stable system moving forward in the next couple of months, because with me, I like to stay on systems for months on end. There's no reason to update, like not a new system app or this, that, the other. Then I won't update, I will stay on the same ISO. But this is why I now am making all of these rebased. So, of course, Spitfire is rebased onto Arco Linux, pretty much, and Torpedo and Man of War Arch are all going to be rebased onto Arco Linux. And of course I'm enjoying this. Running in a virtual machine, this is definitely one of the best, if not the best, because everything is so solid and it's just working, it's there, it's done, and there's so many customizable things with Arco Linux, and I hope that's something that you've took a liking to as well. When you download this, if you do, and that is it for me. Enjoy the enjoy the customizabilities. You can customize so many things now with this ISO. There is a lot customized as it is. It's just top tier, for what it needed to be. And that's it. That is it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you're having a good night, whatever time it is when you're watching this video. I'm sorry if I've offended you in the past with some of my workflow or an update that's come out. I really have been focusing on just trying to get everything ready and stable, really. I wanted to get things stable and maybe move on to my system app a little piece. It's just a headache with the Arch repos, kernels, what's the best thing moving on. It's a bye from me, Claude Mod, or Aaron, which is my real name.